Hey guys, so I am so excited for this video because I get to talk about something that I love, that many of you know I love, and I have a separate channel because I love it so much, and that is horror movies. I thought I would bring it onto this channel a little bit and talk about horror movies on here because I get questions all the time about what my favorite movies are and everything like that, and I always direct you guys to my Possessed by Horror channel. I thought it'd be cool for me to make a video about my top Halloween horror movies, movies that are awesome to watch on Halloween if you are not doing anything in particular or just leading up to Halloween. But I have 5 categories and I thought I would share my top 5 movies for Halloween within those categories. And I'm going to preface that a little bit by saying these are not my top 25 favorite movies of all time. They are just what I think are awesome movies that are entertaining. Like, there's a lot of action going on. They're not necessarily the most artistic or best films out there, but they're awesome films to watch to be scared, or when you're with your friends if you want to make fun of it, or significant other or whatever. Yes, I cliché-ly, that's a word now, wore my horror shirt, and if you're wondering where I got it, it's from Topshop like 4 years ago. So ironically, don't really have any classics on this list, so don't shoot me. There's a reason I picked more modern films than pretty much all of these. Mostly because I felt like that would appeal to a wider audience, and a lot of people have already seen all the classics. So you know the classic slasher films and supernatural, we know. First category we're going to talk about is slasher / gore. Number 1, Trick or Treat. This one's an obvious one. It's kind of slasher, I guess, kind of serial killer-ish. It has 4 stories within it that are all kind of interrelated. So if you're more into supernatural, there's a storyline for you. If you're into creature, there's a storyline for you. Serial killer, there's a storyline for you. Number 2 is Jeepers Creepers. It can be a creature, it can be a slasher, gore. It fits this category best, I think, but it's definitely one of those, it's like, some people will make fun of it, some people will really like it, so you kind of have to figure out where you fall on that spectrum. Number 3, Saw, and I know everyone's seen Saw, but there's 7 films of it. If you haven't seen one, watch one of those. I love the Saw franchise personally. I own all of the DVDs, just grew up loving it and grew up watching it, so it's just one of my faves. But if that doesn't suit your fancy, I would recommend the Houses October Built. Wow. Another Halloween film. I believe it's on Netflix, and that one's a bizarre found footage film. A lot of people request for me to review it on my horror channel, so I will. 4 is American Mary, and this one is definitely a more plot-heavy film, but there definitely is gore, but I love the plot. I think it's so interesting and just really disturbing at the same time. Number 5, Evil Dead. I would recommend the remake or the classic, of course, if you're looking for gore. Evil Dead's got some gore. Second category happens to be my favorite category of movie, and that is supernatural. The first on the list is Sinister. I just reviewed the second one over on my horror channel if you haven't seen that yet, but the second one recently came out in theaters. Sinister is just really, really disturbing, and I love it. Second one is Blair Witch, which again, a lot of people don't like this one for some reason. I think if you're going for subtle, or if you're new to horror, and you want to like ease yourself in, or you want to watch a scary movie on Halloween but you don't want to get too scared, Blair Witch Project is perfect. And it's one of my favorite movies because of the subtleties, because of the simplicity, and the fact that it was one of the first kind of found footage style films, so it was kind of transcending in its time. Number 3 is The Ring, which is my all-time favorite movie if you didn't know. I'm naming my child Samara, in case you didn't know that either. This one, I don't even have to say anything. It's amazing. Number 4, Woman in Black, one of my favorite supernatural films. I don't like the jump scares so much, so do be wary of that, but I love Woman in Black. I think it's a beautiful, like, film. The cinematography, the acting is just amazing. And lastly for supernatural is The Conjuring. Definitely into jump scares as well, but I think it's also a beautiful film. It has very eerie elements to it that are amazing for October. Third category we're going to be talking about is alien movies. Some people are afraid of aliens, some people aren't. I am not personally. However, these movies I love. They're some of my favorites. Number 1, The Thing. I personally prefer John Carpenter's technically original, but it's technically but the remake, which is actually a prequel that was made recently, is amazing as well. You can watch them in any order, really, so that's kind of cool. So, but anything of the Thing Did you hear that? Number 2 is The Fourth Kind, which I think is the scariest alien movie that I've personally ever seen, even though it's like set up to be documentary style, like it's supposed to be real, and we all know it's fake. We got the Alien trilogy. I said there was really no classics on this list, but there's a classic for you. I love the whole trilogy, so I'm gonna cheat and throw all 3 of them in there because the third one happens to be my favorite alien movie. And the 4th alien movie is Honeymoon, which is a newly made film, and it is on Netflix last time I checked. Again, a kind of subtle film. It's not so in-your-face horror, which I love. It's just kind of like disturbing in the elements of what they say and their behavior versus actual imagery of anything horrific, or, you know, there's no real jump scares, things like that. So that's why I love that movie. And lastly, Cloverfield. I know, not a lot of people like this one either. Got a lot of criticism. I personally like Cloverfield. Is it the best movie ever? No, but I think it is awesome to play at a party or if you're chilling with your friends on Halloween. Now for zombie, I actually only have 4 films, and that's because I haven't seen a lot of zombie films because I'm not really a fan of zombie films. I was growing up until it reached a point where it's like, okay, how many are we doing here now? Because there's too many. But my favorite zombie movie of all time is Pontypool, and no one knows what this movie is, but it is the most original, and it's actually really well done, and it is just so cool. Like, I love it. It's kind of scary, has a bit of gore in there, which is awesome. Number 2 is Dawn of the Dead. Again, it's not like my favorite movie by any means, but it's one of those that I would play with like my friends because it doesn't have like a real heavy plot or anything. 28 Days Later / Weeks is really good. I think it's one of the most well done zombie films, but 28 Days Later I think is again a beautiful film, like just aesthetically looking at the imagery and the cinematography and everything. I love it. And then Dead Snow, which is like a dark comedy in a way because it's so ridiculous. It's about zombie Nazis. And the last category we're going to cover is dark comedy, which I think is great for Halloween because you can play it at parties with your friends, or if you want a little creeped out but you still want like something funny. First one is actually my favorite black comedy ever is Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. So freaking funny, and I don't even like comedy movies, but these 5 films I actually find really funny. Tucker and Dale has a lot of gore, funny plot, funny actors. Oh my god, I love the actors in it. Number 2 is Tusk. Tusk is a little bit more of an advanced horror in my opinion because it's very disturbing conceptually when I think about it, when I watch it. At least the first time. The second time isn't as disturbing because you already know what's happening. Number 3 is Cabin in the Woods. Again, one of my favorite movies of all time. I just appreciate it for what it is and what it's kind of portraying as a horror movie industry. It kind of pokes fun at itself a little bit, and I like that, and it actually was really disturbing, especially the monster scene with the elevator. You're Next, one of my favorites as well, is very much more of a subdued horror, I would say. Like, it's more gory. If you're afraid of home invasions, then this one will probably get to you. Last movie on this list is Shaun of the Dead, which I recently watched, and I don't know why it took me so long to watch it. Gore in there, so it's a little creepy, and so yeah, I'd highly recommend that too. And if you wanted a 5th zombie movie, just put that right back up in category zombie. There you go. That was a lot of talking, had a lot of movies to get through, but those are my 24 movies that I would recommend watching on Halloween or leading up to Halloween. But I'd love for you guys to share your favorite movies to watch on Halloween or just any time of year. Favorite horror movies in general. Leave it down below. And if you love horror movies, go subscribe to my second channel because I've been doing it for a while and I love talking about horror movies over there, and I'm reviewing all the episodes of American Horror Story Hotel, so I'm talking about that every week, so more incentive to go subscribe. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.